Noon report for this Friday afternoon. I am Pugs Moran. We do this every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. It's over when it's over. Typically, I shoot for about 2 hours. Sometimes it goes longer than that. Hell, we've gone 4.5 hours. I do believe that's the record. Don't remember the circumstances that caused that. I don't know. Maybe methamphetamine. I don't know, but I went a long time that day. Yesterday, just an hour and a half. And I have to warn you, today might be another hour and a half show. I do apologize, but it's a big day around here for the boy. Those of you who know, I have a 14-year-old son. Uniform fitting day. It's a whole process. Began last night, continues on through today. I have to go grab him. I may be distracted at some point during the show. Should I receive some photos of him in his new high school uniform? Very big day around here. Texas high school football. My son is finally a part of that whole meat grinder, and let's hope we can navigate it better than some. But he's very excited. He's very excited to be double sessions. I don't think he's really done the double sessions yet, because they started on Monday. Well, I guess maybe. I don't know. We'll talk to him this weekend. Double sessions in Texas, boy. I don't know. What is that? What do they still do? I mean, so the first 2 days he was indoors, and I'm totally okay with that because it's like 105, man. And he's been laying around for the last 2 months. You can't just whip someone's ass back into shape. Look, I know what you're saying. That's how it was done in my day. Yeah, and people died all the time. Kids died. Parents had funerals. There was tragedy in family. If we can now understand how to avoid that, let's not harken back for the good old days of the 70s. Hell, I had 3 of my classmates die from heat stroke. Didn't stop me none. Okay. All right. Very good. Anyway, so today's show might be a little bit shorter than usual. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. Let me get the chat room working. Whoa. Geez, my God. Got that cough thing. So what do we do on this show? We run through all the topics, headlines, current events, trends, whatever it is that people are buzzing about. I'm going to tell you what it is. I'm going to tell you why they're buzzing about it. And I'm going to tell you something about it that, only can come from me. Hot takes, that kind of thing. We do it in segments, though, here on the show. We will get to all the hot topics, trends, and headlines. And that comes in like part 2 of the show. Part 1 of the show is I feel that before we can really expect ourselves to understand the news of today, we have to have a firm grasp of the history that preceded it. So we do a little segment called Previously On, where we venture back in time and we look at the day's events. We're looking for patterns. We're looking for rhythms. We're looking for things that might give us a little bit of a heads up as to what's coming up in the next couple of hours. I say it every day. Then we move on to birthdays. We talk about people born on this day. We celebrate them or we piss on their graves, depending on which is appropriate. We decide in the moment, and you get to be a part of that. Then comes another segment, one that I like. It's called These Are the People Who've Died. These are the people who've died. This is a list of people who weren't born on this day, but checked out on this day. And the conceit of this entire premise, or the premise of this entire, excuse me, it's you know me. It's the air conditioning. I've moved back into a new place. The Comfort Nest Studios, the original Comfort Nest Studios. We had some air conditioning work done, and it's different air conditioning now, and it's like really strong and it's really good, and it's it's just making a little bit of whatever. I'm a wreck. I'm like, this is because I'm part alien. I'm completely convinced that I have these crazy allergies to all these normal things that Earthlings are perfectly fine with, but for some reason, it makes me go a little bit wiggy. But we'll move on. Anyway, then we talk about people who've died because we believe that, everybody dies. We don't believe this. We know this. Everybody dies. And a lot of assholes out there. No denying that. I mean, you just look around, there's get in traffic for 5 minutes. You'll find a couple of them real quick. So since everybody dies and assholes die every day, we look at the people who've died on this day and we determine, do we really care? So without further ado, let's get the show started. But wait a second. Hold on. I got a pocket full of ado for you. I do have a slight bit more of ado for you before we get rolling. Tip the show if you can. That would be wonderful. I want to thank Sally. Oh my God, Mama Sally tipped yesterday. Frankie was there. April tipped the show yesterday. This show runs entirely on your gratuity. So if you like a little something, if you enjoy listening to all 10 hours per week that we produce of this, a cup of coffee, drop like a little, what do you pay for a cup of coffee every day? What do you pay for a cup of coffee? Pay ahead, whatever it is. We appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for the support. Let's get us through the end of the month. Now is tipping season, folks. All right. Thank you. Oh, here, I should probably show you how to do that. All right. That would be easier. So we'll put this up. We'll put the old tip the show up. Venmo, Cash App. That's the preferred way. It goes right to me. We keep doing the shows. Everybody's happy. We move on. All right. What do you say we get started here with today's show? It is the High Noon Report for the 28th day of July, year of our Lord 2023. July 28th, have you know, is the 209th day of the year. There's 156 more of these left until the end of the year. So as we like to say around these places, get your New Year's Eve plans started. All right, France is representing big on this day in history. So let's get started with erstwhile on this day. Erstwhile on this day in history, a lot of shit was going on in France. I'm not kidding. Like throughout that, like I'd be watching France today. In the coming hours, this is one of them days shit goes down in France. On this day in 1540, King Henry VIII of England marries his fifth wife, Catherine Howard. All right. And also on this day, how did he celebrate marrying his fifth wife? Well, he executed his closest advisor, Thomas Cromwell. He believed him to be a treasonous son of a bitch. Now, why is this important? He did it on the same day he marries this Catherine Howard. Here's what. Okay, so here's what happened. Here's what happened. So this dude, Thomas Cromwell. Actually, I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. There are ties here, but not directly. This is England, of course, Henry VIII, not France. Well, we'll get to France. Shit went down in France. So he marries Catherine Howard on this day. And then on the very same day to celebrate, he kills his best minister, his top guy, his best friend, who was, of course, Thomas Cromwell. Now, why did he kill him? Because Henry VIII believed that he was guilty of treason. What was the cause of the treason? Setting me up with crazy bitches. Yep, that's basically it. I mean, there were other trumped up nonsense, but the real issue that Henry VIII had with Thomas Cromwell is that Thomas Cromwell was sort of the architect of the English breaking away from the Catholic Church because they wouldn't let Henry get a divorce. Remember, he wouldn't let him get divorced, so he created his own church, right? So Thomas Cromwell was kind of the architect of that. So he's a big player in the history of England. He was also Henry VIII's top advisor. And he also worked out the ways to get the marriages annulled and, all these kinds of, so he took care of all of that shit for Henry so that Henry VIII could just be like a playboy looking for, new poontang, which is all he seems to be about. 8 wives. He just got tired of them and would move on to the next one. So it fell on Thomas Cromwell to find the next queens. So he set Henry up with a whole bunch of queens, and he married them. And then he didn't like them, and he got rid of them, So finally, he meets this girl, Catherine Howard, and he ends up, I like you. I guess she was like a peasant girl or something. Someone Cromwell would have never set him up with. And, Cromwell derived power from being able to pick the queen for Henry VIII. Even though, I don't know if you were one of the candidates for that gig, you'd look at your predecessors and go, they all get their heads chopped off. Do I want this job? Anyway, Henry found a girl on his own, got pissed off that he thought that maybe Cromwell was setting him up with girls that were just benefiting him. Hey, he gets some kind of political power out of the fact that he's made this land baron's daughter the Queen of England. Anyway, and he cut his head off. Famously, immediately regretted it. Henry VIII immediately regretted it because he realized very quickly on that he pretty much relied on Thomas Cromwell for everything. That was on this day in 1540. On this day in 1794, the French Revolution. Maximilien Robespierre and Louis Antoine de Saint-Just are executed by guillotine in Paris, France. Why is this such a big deal? Because, do I love the stories of the French Revolution. Those people, let me tell you, those people know how to do a revolution. We're pretty good too. We're clean. We're clean and tidy with our revolutions. Not them. They were cutting people's heads off in the middle of town squares, and oh my God, and singing songs while they do it. La Masia, Robespierre. Robespierre was one of the chief troublemakers, hooligans, and it was of the people of the fall of the monastic dynasty, of all of that, bringing freedom, liberty. Robespierre was like that guy, but he was really complicated. Like I'm not sure he was like I've familiarized myself with enough of the history of the French Revolution to know that he ain't really just a hero. Like he didn't love, like he was in it from, like there was a lot that he had to gain from all of this. So it's, and then, the reign of terror, if you know anything about that, about the persecutions of people and then the slaughtering of innocents and all that, because I don't know if he was a good guy or a bad guy. Anyway, moving on. Robespierre, executed on this day in 1794 in the middle of the French Revolution. On this day in 1868, the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution is certified. What does the 14th do? Anybody? Well, I recently saw a movie about this, so it's not fair. I think it was in the news. Well, I'll read it to you exactly what it does. It establishes African-American citizenship and guarantee of due process of the law. All right. Seems like they got the first part of that down. Seems like black people can vote. They're citizens. They certainly, attend schools and all that stuff. So they got that. It's the second part of the 14th Amendment, I think, that people have trouble with today, which is guaranteeing due process of law. But, let me be honest about something. That's a question that recently a lot of people from a lot of different ethnic groups and skin tones and all that have been asking. I mean, our entire justice system is sort of in a state of flux right now. So hang on, people. I don't know how it's going, but it doesn't seem to be working for anybody these days. Unless you're like, unless you got no way to defend yourself. That they seem to have a close rate that is just unrivaled anywhere else in the world. Let's see here. What else happened on this day? So that was a big one, 14th Amendment. On this day that was 1868. All right, so that makes sense. All right. On this day in 1896, the city of Miami is incorporated. All right, hot takes on Miami. God, man, Miami is just, I've been some places. I've not been everywhere, but I've been enough places. I have never seen a higher concentration of beautiful people than when I was in Miami. I felt like Shrek. I don't know, I'm not that bad, but when I was in Miami, I went to this Miami club, and it was a nice club. It was one of those places where, like, J-Lo was singing, one of those kinds of. So I go to this. I'm at this nice club, and these people were having a nice time. I just felt like Shrek, man. Miami. Here's the other thing about Miami: it's too humid. I don't think I like it. And in what they call that Art Deco look. Looks shitty. It's like a shitty look. It looks like a cheap, shitty look from the past of what they thought the future would look like. I don't like it. All right, never mind. There you go. That's my thoughts on Miami. Apparently, I am not a fan. You know what? I think I am for a weekend. I think you go for a weekend. I don't know if I could live there. On this day in 1896, city of Miami is incorporated. On this day in 1932, here's a big piece of American history. U.S. President Herbert Hoover ordered the United States Army to forcibly evict the bonus army of World War I veterans gathered in Washington, D.C. Now, are we familiar with that? Do we know about the bonus army, the World War I bonus army? Okay, so these dudes were guaranteed, when they signed up for war, they signed and received these certificates, which were monetized. There was just a catch. They had to hold on to them until 1945. In 1945, they could, cash them all in. Now, this was when? This was 1932. The Depression was raging, man. Everybody was out of work. And these World War I soldiers wanted their money early. So they gathered and they marched on Washington, and the government reacted by sending the army in there. Future American hero Douglas MacArthur was the guy who led the troops that cleared out the bonus army from, people died. 2 people got shot and killed. There were riots. They were pushed back. They burned and destroyed their campsites where they had been living. Remember now, they had been promised these certificates in World War I. And they were simply asked to hold on to them until 1945. That was the deal. You sign it, and in 1945, it'll be worth something. But man, nobody anticipated the Depression. But then again, nobody anticipates life. So during the Depression, 10 years earlier than these bonds were supposed to have matured, 10 years earlier, they marched on Washington because they needed their money, because they were desperate. And they felt that their service to their country maybe qualified for some level of consideration about changing the rule. That's what it was. And it turned really ugly. And honestly, as I sit here in 2023, I don't know what to tell you about it, because they signed the thing that said 1945. I wish there was a way to have maybe made it better for them, instead of just sending in Douglas MacArthur and a bunch of tanks to clear out the square. Oh, wait, there was a better way. Oh, that's right. There was a better way, because it was done a couple of years later when the Bonus Army marched for the second time during Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Franklin Delano Roosevelt, you see, didn't send the troops in. He negotiated with them, and he found them work during his great reconstruction. He was trying to pull us out. So he decided that, we can't give you the matured bonds yet, but how about this? How about I employ all of you? How about America shows that we can put our people to work in more ways than just sending them over to kill the Huns? How about that? That's what Roosevelt did. And guess what? They went away peacefully, and the entire situation was solved. Or you could just send in the tanks like a totalitarian asshole. Whatever. You can either work with them or say, fuck you, I'm big and strong, you're poor and desperate. That's not America. Moving on this day in 1942, Soviet leader, okay, you want to know what's not America? Here you go. 1942, Soviet leader Joseph Stalin issues order number 227. This is in response to alarming German advances. Here's what this order says. All those who retreat or otherwise leave their positions without orders to do so are to be tried in a military court with punishment ranging from duty in a Schiffbot battalion. I'll tell you what that is. Imprisonment in a gulag or execution. So a Schriftbot battalion in Stalin's army were a bunch of prisoners who were unarmed and just gathered in a mass and forced to just run into the advancing army and just start throwing punches. Jesus. Stalin, 1942. On this day in 1945, U.S. Army B-25 bomber crashes into the 79th floor of the Empire State Building, killing 14 and injuring 26. I remember seeing, there's pictures of that. You can see that. That's crazy. That was, not crazy. I mean, look, we had a little thing happen at the World Trade Center a few years later, but this was due to fog and weather or something. And it was like at a time when there weren't a lot of tall buildings, like the Empire State Building was kind of, I forgot about that one. Oh my God, what a tragedy. On this day on this day in 1984, the Olympic Games opened. It was the Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. Do you remember that? If you're like me, if you're Gen X, if you're from the 70s and the 80s, you remember the 84 Olympics, because there was great scandal or issue surrounding the 1980 Olympics. We didn't get to play in those games, but we got 84, and 84 was in LA. And let me tell you, LA in 1984, get out of town, people. That was the party place of the globe. Bruce Jenner was still a guy. He was out there hosting on TV. Here's what I remember. Okay. So actually, this has nothing to do with the Olympics, but it is why I will always remember watching the opening ceremony of the 1984 Olympics. It was on a Friday night, ABC TV. So my friend Kevin, my friend Kevin Small, his parents did something back starting in the 1970s and his whole life growing up that only became popularly accepted as normal, I don't know, around about the early mid-aughts, right? And that is, I think his family invented the staycation. His family were the first people that I'd ever heard of who would just go and check into a hotel in town, just live in the hotel for a couple of days, take advantage of the pool, of all that kind of stuff. And they had a pool at their own house. Anyway, we went to this like little Holodome resort that had this really kick-ass arcade. And, I guess there was a bar for the parents and there was an arcade and we played and there was pools and a water slide. It was big for the 80s. Holodomes. I don't know if you remember those. They were cool. Anyway, so I tagged along because what the hell? It was just across town. It wasn't like they were going to Minnesota. We're just going across town. And I remember sitting in I remember watching that in that hotel room. They would rent a hotel room for the kids with 2 beds, and then mom and dad would get their hotel. It was so weird at the time. I remember thinking, I could walk, worst case scenario, I could actually walk home from here. I am not on vacation. They didn't call it a staycation because I don't think they were that creative in the moment. I don't think they thought they were doing anything all that strange. But I did. I thought it was really strange. And now we have staycations. That's right. I believe the origin of the staycation is the small family of Orland Park, Illinois, back in the 1980s. Anyway, that's my memory of the 1984 Olympics. All right, let's move on to birthdays. Let's talk about some people who are wanna. They're having a birthday. Wanna. Some are dead. Let's see here. Celebrating a birthday on this day, born in 1929, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis. She's dead. She died in 1994. Jackie Kennedy. So, like, I grew up in an Irish Catholic family. So she's like a princess. Like, she's like a queen, in like Irish Catholic families, which I was always like, she's neither Irish nor Catholic, right? It's like, but okay, whatever. And America, I see this with Marilyn Monroe too. And if you know my take on Marilyn Monroe, you'll know my take on Jackie O. I don't think I find Jackie Kennedy Onassis as attractive as everybody was like, oh, she's so gorgeous. Oh, Jackie, she's a good looking woman, and the same goes for JFK. Like, oh, Jack was so handsome. No, he was powerful. He came from a family that maybe you saw as like the American royal family, but he wasn't handsome. He wasn't Brad Pitt or George Clooney. Kennedys have a weird jaw, and they're not attractive. Their power and influence certainly may have been attractive. But anyway, Jackie Kennedy Onassis was born, fancy family, the Bouviers, French, whatever. It was a marriage of, powerful families, that whole thing. Came first lady. Look, her actions in the instant that her husband was assassinated, those are the actions of a good wife. So I believe she loved him. All this talk about this and that and this and that. The woman was scooping up her husband's brains. She went straight into wife mode. That was impressive. But I don't know. I just don't think she's all that. I feel like she's been elevated to some level of like, goddess here. Anyway, happy birthday, Jackie O. You're born on this day in 1929. Born on this day in 1943, Mike Bloomfield. Mike Bloomfield, a member of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, is a member of the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. Mike Bloomfield, a member of the Blues Hall of Fame. Mike Bloomfield is a guitar player, and Mike Bloomfield is a great guitar player. I believe Rolling Stone rated him as 15 on their list of the greatest guitar players of all time. He's a blues guy. He's not shredding like Steve Vai, but he's a blues guy, and he's quite well respected, and his story is fascinating. Mike Bloomfield is a super rich Jewish kid from New Trier High School in Chicago, which is really fancy and really rich. At a very young age, he started like skipping out of his house. Like maybe other kids will skip out of their house to go drink beer at the park. No, Mike Bloomfield was skipping out of his Winnetka or Glencoe, I think it was Glencoe mansion, so that he could make his way downtown to the south side of Chicago to hang out in these really what must have been very intimidating environments for a white, rich 15-year-old Jewish kid from the north suburbs. And they adopted him because the kid could play. He was this novelty in some of these incredibly well-regarded. Now, at the time, they were just dive blues bars on the south side of Chicago. Now they're all iconic places. You can take a tour of Blues Row. And he was this kid who had to wake up for school in the morning. You see this story a lot with people who make it's like, really? I was just rewatching a doc special on Bill Hicks. And they talk about how Bill Hicks at 14 years old was sneaking out of his Houston window to run down to a comedy club so that he could be the novelty, so that he could be the 14-year-old kid killing on stage. Mike Bloomfield was the same thing. Mike Bloomfield was then discovered he was taken under the wing by a lot of like famous Chicago old blues artists who sort of protected him as the kid. He's the kid. He's cool. He's fine. Let him in. Yeah, to say nothing of the fact that you can't work in a bar at 14. But he was there. Paul Butterfield discovered him. Of course, Paul Butterfield Blues Band, and it became Paul Butterfield, Mike Bloomfield, and of course, Elvin Bishop. And that's why the Paul Butterfield Blues Band is in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There you go. Happy birthday to you, Mike Bloomfield. Are you alive? No, he's dead. Oh, that's right. He died a long time ago. He died in 1981. Born on this day in 1947. She's there, right? Yeah, a little girl. Sally Struthers. That's right. Sally Struthers. What was her name? What was her name? What was her name? It wasn't Little Goyle. Archie and Edith's daughter. What was her name? Little Goyle. She's Little Goyle. I don't care. Anyway, happy birthday, Sally Struthers. Born on this day in 1947. Born on this day in 1949. A little shout out to my fellow old school baseball heads. How about Vida Blue's birthday? Whoo, boy, Vida Blue, when I was a little kid, he was like one of the earliest super dominant, but that dude was flicking rice. Bink. You couldn't hit Vida Blue. Happy birthday to you, Vida Blue. Born on this day in 1949. Sadly, just died this year, a couple months ago, I think. Well, that would probably have to be the case, considering if it was this year, just a couple months ago. Born on this day in 1951, Doug Collins, American basketball player and coach. Doug Collins, I'll get to the great Doug Collins story. Doug Collins, you know him from basketball on TNT. He's a national basketball guy. He coached the Sixers and the Bulls for a period of time. Played professionally. Wasn't great, but whatever. He was fine. Here's what's interesting about Doug Collins. Doug Collins was freaking untouchable as the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. He was untouchable. He had 100% faith and loyalty given to him by a young Michael Jordan and a young Scottie Pippen. This was the rise of the Bulls teams that would win all those titles in the 90s. They were Doug Collins' teams. Those were Doug Collins players. And he'd taken them to 2 consecutive losses in the, I think one was the Eastern Conference Finals. The other was regionals against the Detroit Pistons, who would, of course, in both of those years go on to win titles. Those were the bad boys. Those were that was their era. And Doug Collins' Bulls pushed them right to the limit both times, and they would go on. Doug Collins was untouchable. He was loved in Chicago. He was young. He was hip. He was one of the cool coaches, with the suits and all that stuff. And he was witty and he was funny. And then all of a sudden he got fired. Everybody's like, what? Who? Wait, you fired? Why is Doug Collins getting fired? He has taken Jordan and the Bulls from like a sub 500 season to 2 consecutive Eastern Conference Finals, losing only to the eventual NBA champ. How is he getting fired? This team is building. And who's this new guy? Phil who? Phil Jackson? Has anybody ever heard of Phil Jackson? I don't know. Phil Jackson inherited that team. That was Doug Collins' team. So what happened? Well, there are a lot of stories. The official story was that Doug Collins was fired because at this stage of our development of this team, we feel that Doug Collins had the capabilities to take us from point A, which is a bunch of rookies and untested players, to point B, which is a team ready to take the step to a championship. We do not believe that he can get us to point C. So we're bringing in Phil Jackson, who you've never heard of. You've never heard of Phil Jackson. Well, that was the official reason. Point A, point B. It was the point A, point B, point C press conference. Very famous. It made no sense. It was stupid. Everybody's like, he's a good coach. He's the best. And he got scooped up right away. I think he went to Philadelphia in fairly short order. But he didn't have Jordan and he didn't have Pippen. He had Barkley. Anyway, did he have Dr. J maybe hanging out? I don't know. So the real story, or not the real story, I should not say the real story. Lawyers being what they do. I'm going to say that a story that gets shared among Chicago media while maybe imbibing in a few cocktails about stories they could never publish, stories that for one reason or another, people don't know. And why Doug Collins got fired is one of them. That's a big one. And it supposedly has to do with him. And again, this is just a rumor. Him and the daughter of the owner of the team. That apparently, I mean, come on, that's got to be a no-fly zone in every walk of life, right? So that is the accepted reason among those in the know in Chicago as to why Doug Collins was just dismissed for no reason that anybody watching the team could believe, and the world was given Phil Jackson. They did fine. No complaints against Phil Jackson. I mean, boy, it turned out to be something, right? Again, though, and this is why, I'm a Doug Collins loyalist. I like Doug Collins. I feel like he got screwed. I feel like because of his shortcomings as a man, which is keep it in your pants, stupid, because of his shortcomings he missed out on being Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson had Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and then Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal. It's like, okay. All right. Try being Mike Dunleavy. Phil Jackson. Try being some much traveled coach. Like I don't know. Who's the dude in New York that I like? The crazy guy in New York. Anyway, doesn't matter. On this day, 1951, Doug Collins was born. On this day in 1964, happy birthday to Lori Loughlin. She's the show with the kids that they watched. That's great. That was a great description of Full House. That was the show with the kids that they watched. She was like the auntie one, right? She was the one that was dating hair guy. Can you tell I didn't watch Full House? It was just a little bit outside my demo. Full House started when I was like 19 years old. And I was like, nope, this looks like it's for 10-year-olds. And it was, which is why hair. Anyway, here's what I do know about Lori Loughlin. Very sexy. I remember that. So cute. Oh, was she cute? And then Prisoner, right? She went to jail in that college admittance scandal thing. Everybody was like, oh, she's horrible. Oh, yeah, she's horrible. She bent some rules, in the interests of her daughter. I understand it. Doesn't make her horrible. Makes her somebody of low character. Makes her somebody that, is liable to cheat at cards. But short of that, is she terrible? Nah, probably not. Considering she's a Hollywood actress and my well-known take on Hollywood actresses, I probably shouldn't say she's probably not horrible. In fact, she probably is horrible because she's a Hollywood actress. But what I'm saying is, is she, they didn't find her manufacturing child porn with Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson in some garage in Encino. You know what I mean? She was trying to get her kid into school. That's all. Lori Loughlin, born on this day in 1964. 1974, born on this day. Here's a couple of, wow, they were big once now, huh? How about these? Let's see here. Born on the exact same day, 1974, Afro Man and Elizabeth Berkley. Afro Man had the biggest song in the world. What's he done? So what was Afro Man done since? I'll tell you, though, he was smart. He's got that. He's the But I Got High guy, right? So if you're gonna have one hit, have it be a borderline novelty hit. And I don't even know that was borderline novelty. I think that was just a straight up novelty hit, because you can tour on a novelty hit for decades into the future. You can play county fairs. You can do all of that stuff. It is a far more useful one hit than just a random forgettable one hit wonder. You get it. So happy birthday to him. And how about Elizabeth Berkley? Remember when she was in Showgirls? Remember she came from Saved by the Bell, right? When she one of the chicks on Saved by the Bell. And she was making her first grown-up big girl movie. And it was like, oh! And let's be honest, there was a big push to, it was creepy and it was weird. And even me back then when I was 24 realized it was creepy and weird. But it was almost like they were trying to titillate older men with the idea that Saved by the Bell girl, little high school girl, is now a stripper. This is fucking weird. So anyway, that was one of the, I remember, pushbacks on it that I'm like, yeah. But everybody at the time in the 90s, this was just before we had rules. We started having rules about, 98, 99. We were afraid of Y2K and shit, so we started to try and clean up our messes. So we started making rules. But before then, you could do that. Like I literally remember a promotion for it that showed her as her character in Saved by the Bell and then as a stripper. And it's like, that's okay. I mean, I see what you're doing there, and that's the problem. I see what you're doing there, and what you're doing there is, you're trying to fill the seats with pedophiles. That's what you're trying to do. You're saying you don't care who comes in and sees this movie. In fact, you may have identified a very specific target demo that you can get to buy tickets. I mean, I'm sure that's the American way, but are you comfortable with that? You sleeping good? You taking your Ambien, I bet. All right, so happy birthday to both Afro Man and Elizabeth Berkley. Born on this day in 1974. Born on this day in 1982, Cain Velasquez, former UFC heavyweight champion. Cain Velasquez has a very interesting story. It's why I mention him. About a year and a half ago, maybe something like that, Cain Velasquez made big headlines because he was arrested after firing at people in traffic. Cain Velasquez road rages. He shot one person. That person was rushed to a hospital. He apparently resisted the initial arrest with police. Cain Velasquez went to jail. Criminal Cain Velasquez. So that was the way the story was promoted on day one. On day two, we started to get more information about what was going on there. Because the fun story was big, scary Mexican UFC champion goes berserk. No one is safe when these people get... That wasn't the story. That wasn't the true story. The true story was Cain lost his shit. Yes. Okay. But let's give a little bit of context to this. Those weren't just random people that he was firing at in traffic. That wasn't a road rage incident. The man he was firing at is a man who police had arrested a couple of days earlier for sexually molesting Cain Velasquez's child. That's what it was about. This was a car full of people who ran a daycare center that had molested Cain Velasquez's child. And it's not just, I think you molested my child. It's, they didn't even bring the charges. The county did an investigation and brought the charges and let the Velasquezes know what was going on. So, look, he lost his shit. And he tried to murder the man who who did molest his son. And he spent a year in jail going through all of these. The judge would not grant him any kind of bail because you're a danger to the community, all of this kind of stuff. It's just a really sad story. And it's a complicated story. And it's like, God, Cain, you're just a big dummy. You're just a big dumb animal who didn't have control of your emotions. And you did something that I think most fathers could go, fuck yeah. You know what? I might lose my shit in that situation as well. I mean, so... is he a danger? No, he's not a danger. He's fighting now. He's older. He's retired. He's one of the greatest UFC champions in history. He's certainly one of the best wrestlers in the heavyweight division. He's wrestling in one of those lucha libre things, and he has to get permission from the court because he's under house arrest now. He finally got bail after being in jail for a year for this. By the way, he's got no other priors. He had major American brand sponsors and stuff. He's been vetted. He's not a terrible, terrible human being. He just did something with a gun that, brought on these charges. But again, it'll be adjudicated and we'll see where it goes, and hopefully cooler heads will prevail. All I'm saying is that when we think of Cain Velasquez, let's not go with what maybe we heard in those first couple of hours of him being arrested. Because it was bad. It was, this is, typical big, dumb, meathead, poor kid from the ghetto. No, it was a dad thing. And if you look at the complexity of it, you might actually have some sympathy for him. All right, happy birthday, Cain Velasquez. Born on this day in 1982. Born on this day in 1984. How about John David Washington? He's a terrific young actor. He's a Nepo baby. Certainly he had a hat. Look, sure, he's the son of Denzel Washington. Yeah, of course he had a... Hey, Dad, I want to be an actor now. Okay, son, let me introduce you to my team. It's like... It's probably not even that. It's, hey, Dad... I'm trying to think like who the most powerful man in Hollywood. Yeah, that's it. Hey, Dad, Hey, Dad, Denzel Washington, I want to be an actor now. Oh, okay. Why don't you talk to Uncle Bob? Oh, you mean Uncle Bob Iger? You mean the president of Disney? Okay, sure. Maybe I'll get a gig somewhere. So of course he's a nepo baby. Of course, John David Washington got the break. He didn't even need the rich daddy. That's tier 2. That's rich regional daddy fully funds young child to go to Hollywood to do auditions and not have to bust tables or wait, and and that kind of struggle for rent and prostitute themselves and whatever. That's tier 2. Tier 1 is nepo baby. Tier 2 is your dad is Bruce Willis. your dad is Denzel. So those people get the breaks, and that's fine. And John David Washington got the break, but let me tell you something. He's good, so he deserves to be there, and that's fine by me. I don't have that much of a problem with the nepo baby. I get it. I understand how family businesses work. People who grew up in a family business typically have a faster track. That's just not a Hollywood thing. That's an everything thing. So I don't begrudge them all that much on that. I just sure. If they can't do it, they got to get out. John David Washington can do it. Happy birthday, John David Washington, son of Denzel. All right, let's get into some deaths. These are the people who've died. These are the people who've died. Not too many. Do we have to make? Not too many at all today. So we're not going to stand in judgment of too many people on this glorious day. Dead on this day, Cyrano de Bergerac. Cyrano de Bergerac. Okay, so how do we think about Cyrano de Bergerac? Because he's one of these strange characters from history who is in fact a real person, a poet, a famous poet, a dramatist, a writer, but also more famous as the fictional character that was based on him, right? So like there was a play, Cyrano de Bergerac. The play Cyrano de Bergerac was not written by Cyrano de Bergerac. It was written about Cyrano de Bergerac by another writer at the time. Cyrano de Bergerac is the guy who's got a lot of game, but is really ugly. And his best buddy is really handsome, but got no game whatsoever. And best looking buddy falls for the princess type. I don't know if she was a princess or not, but he's got no game and he's a big dummy. And the princess type needs more than that. So Cyrano de Bergerac whispers all the cool game things to say to her to get her into bed. That's Cyrano de Bergerac. That's the play. That's not the actual guy. The actual guy was born on this day. And I don't know anything that Cyrano de Bergerac did. I always think that he did Don Quixote. Cyrano de Bergerac, Don Quixote, but that's Miguel de Cervantes. Always, big problem. Anyway, do we care that he's dead? No, not really. He's a lot of confusing stuff there. A lot of confusing stuff. Don't need it. Dead on this day in 1794, we talked about him earlier, Maximilien Robespierre, French shit-stirrer, politician, revolutionary. Do we care? Ooh, this is like I said, I don't know. We're going to move on. This is the first time I don't know. I've read all these different histories. I don't know if Maximilien Robespierre was a horrible, horrible person, as some say, or truly the reason that France became a democracy, as others. I do not know. So we're going to table on whether or not we care that this is the day that Maximilien Robespierre died. I don't know enough. I got to learn more. Dead on this day in 2013, Eileen Brennan, American actress and singer. Eileen Brennan. No clue who she is. I know the name. I know that she did stuff. No clue. Do we care? No, I don't know. Who was she? Was she Nurse Ratched? No, that was Louise. That was... I don't know. I don't know who Eileen Brennan was. Dead on this day in 2021, Dusty Hill, preemptive. Yeah, we care. Dusty Hill, ZZ Top, bass player, fabulous beard. Dead on this day of 2021. 2021. All right, that's going to conclude it. Those are the people who've died. Those are the people who've died. Did we care? Couple we cared certainly about Dusty Hill. Let's get into all the things that are trending now. Shall we move effortlessly into what this show is actually supposed to be about, which is giving you all of the information that you need to move through today effortlessly and just not bumping into walls like a dummy. I do like the scenario because I find myself in this position a lot where somebody goes, hey, did you hear about, and you're like, no. And then you got to listen to them. And you're not getting good stuff. You're not getting anything that's particularly witty. You're not really getting a good encapsulation of the situation. You're just getting a whole bunch of their points of view funneled through you know what I mean? So that's what this show is for. Here's what I do. I give you all the things that are trending. I give you the topics, the headlines, the hots, all that stuff. And then I tell you, here's why. Here's what I think we move on. Like this, let's start out. Gas prices. Boosh. Okay. Don't get me started on the whole gas prices thing, okay? Gas prices are at an... Let me look. Get into a little reading here, okay? Prices at the pump in the United States hit an 8-month high this week, boosted by the increased cost of crude as producers slash output. According to Roadside Assistance Company, AAA, as of Friday, the average national gas price is $3.73 per gallon. As for regular unleaded. $3.73. I was complaining yesterday. I'm like, $3.40? We're paying $3.40 for gas. National average is $3.73. This is something that we here in Texas, I don't think, truly appreciate. Chicago, where I was living for a while, daily, doesn't matter what the situation is, 25 cents higher at the pump than here in Texas. The prices really do drop when you get into Texas. Having said that, $3.40 is still unconscionable. This is the shit we need to care about. Whenever we hear these things like we did yesterday, and we may even hear in a couple more minutes here, depending on if I get to this trending story or not, we're going to hear about what a booming economy we're in. We're going to hear about how holy shit has it turned around in the last 6 weeks. We're going to hear all of these new proclamations from the Fed about how we're not headed towards a recession after all. We're hearing things about lowest jobs, highest stock market, going for a record. We're going to hear all of this shit. And remember, none of that really directly pertains to you. You know what does? The bad news. The gas prices. What we pay at the pump. That's our life spread. If you are a working class, a blue collar, a middle American, the price at the gas pump is how you essentially tell if things are going good or not. The price of your energy bill, gas, energy. The wider idea is energy, but you know, for us, oversimplified. Price at the pump. Price at the pump has been skyrocketing, man. $3.73 national. I've been watching it because we shouldn't be at $2. It should be, you know what it should be? It should be $1.99. It should be $1.99. Everybody still gets rich, and we get to keep moving on. And we get to, you know what happens when you make it $1.99? We go to the gas because we drive more. Oh, but you're driving more. That's bad for the environment. Oh, shut up. It's not about you people at the moment. We'll get to you. Wait your turn. Right now, we're just trying to get people to work without spending 70% of their paycheck to do it. See, that's what you got to do. That's what you got to tell these people. Respectfully. We should be paying $2. We should be, but we're not. And I don't know if this is all a part of the creep. I talk a lot about the creep, about how we, the people, are manipulated, not necessarily by swift change, not by broad action, not by proclamation. We experience change now through small incremental creep of things. We saw it with gay marriage. We saw it with legalization. We see it with all kinds of things. So right now what we're doing is, I think we're seeing maybe a slow creep towards forcing us to buy electric cars. Forcing us. If there is no real desire on the part of the current administration to knock these gas prices down, but to, in fact, distract us from the gas prices by touting stock market gains and unemployment rates, we have a right to be pissed about that. However, like I said, this could be their plan. Slow creep. Make gas just not cool. Make gas something that make gas so expensive. Like, don't give a shit about bringing the prices down to an acceptable level. Let's just let them slowly get higher and higher. And then people will just eventually start going, hey, and then let's give electric car manufacturers incentive to sell cheap cars, which is what they're doing. And then yesterday we heard the news about all of the electric car manufacturers coming together for a multi-billion-dollar nationwide recharging network along our nation's highways and stuff for electric cars. Start to see this stuff. Pretty soon that's going to be a thing. Gas prices won't come down. Your next car is going to be electric, not because you want electric, not because you hate gas or you want to be off gas. It'll be electric because the electric car will be the one that just is more convenient for the times that we live in. That's the slow creep off of gas. You keep having your little marches about drill, baby, drill, and all this kind of stuff. That ship has sailed, man. Are you kidding me? This is what you need to be watching. You need to be watching, if you are in the oil and gas industry, that's what they're watching. They're paying attention to this slow creep. Slow creep, gas prices, 373 national average. The more fuel efficient premium gas has surged to nearly 450. But rich people, see, 450 is nothing for rich people because rich people use premium gas. They don't, rich people, a guy with a guy that makes, let's not even talk about super rich. Let's talk about a guy that makes $1,000 a day. Okay. That's a guy who's making $365,000 a year. That guy doesn't even know how much gas costs. That guy just puts his card in. It's not a concern for him. Okay. So let's stop worrying about the premium gas people. California is the nation's highest, as it always is with these gas prices. Their average in California is $4.95 a gallon. Let's see here. There's a place outside that says Yosemite National Park that has the highest gas prices in America at $6.05 for a gallon. You're trapped up in the mountains. You're on E. Oh, they got you. And they're going to get you. They're going to keep you. All right, let's move on. Trump, right? 4 more charges. Okay. Right. This was, here's what was interesting about this is that we've been on indictment watch, the last couple of days. But what we've been watching for is events from the January 6th grand jury. That's who've been meeting in Washington on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They didn't meet on Tuesday of this week, which a lot of people thought meant that they were nearing a conclusion. So yesterday, we were on indictment watch. We were waiting to hear the decision of the January 6th grand jury, the one that's being overwhelmed by Jack Smith. That's not what we got. What we got was there was a meeting earlier in the day. Trump's attorneys were called to the Department of Justice for a meeting with Jack Smith. And that just reinforced everyone's belief that later in the day there would be an indictment issued by the January 6th grand jury. But that's not what happened. What happened was apparently they came to this meeting and what he told them was, yeah, this isn't about that. They're still working. They're getting there. This is about new evidence that they've uncovered, which is bringing more charges and 4 more indictments. This is pertaining to the Mar-a-Lago case. See, these are multiple cases. These are not all tied together. You got New York with Stormy Daniels. You got Georgia with the election tampering. You've got Jack Smith doing a federal investigation about documents and the president's role in January 6th. And this is the Mar-a-Lago thing. So this is the feds. This is the feds doing this one. I don't know. They got some new guy that they're charging, a janitor. The Department of Jack Smith, they brought charges. They've indicted a janitor who is, according to a number of sources, believed to have instructed other janitors to wipe out hard drives of surveillance video. The FBI had asked for documents, and the FBI had asked for all of the surveillance video surrounding the documents. Belief is they could have video of people moving the documents, looking at the documents, seeing the documents. That's the belief of the FBI or the Department of Justice. Jack Smith. So this guy, Charles, call him Charles, shows up and he goes down and he says, the boss wants you to wipe these. Now, the people he said this to are referred to in the documents as Trump employee 1 and Trump employee 2, which means they're cooperating, which means they're the ones who gave the information. Apparently this Charlie guy didn't. Charlie's been indicted. So is Charlie going to flip? Who did Charlie mean when he said the boss wanted these wiped? I don't know. Developing ... Be distracted by it all if you want. Iowa is trending today because Iowa is where all the Republicans are meeting, including Trump. They're all getting together. Iowa. This is like, they do things like they eat corn dogs, right? They judge butter sculpture contests. I think it's a great thing for Iowa. Like, there's a lot of people like, why Iowa? And I'm like, I get why Iowa, because it's in the middle of the country and they got nothing else. Iowa theoretically represents what everybody in America is like, which is a load of shit. But okay, that's been the traditional belief. This whole concept of Midwestern values being the preferred American way of looking at things. I grew up in the Midwest, okay? There is something to the concept of Midwestern values, but it's not like the Midwest doesn't produce more serial killers than anywhere else. We're not perfect. It's not, there's a lot of idiots in the Midwest too. So I like Iowa. I have been to the Iowa caucus. It's quite an event. I've been to the summer fair, which is where they're all at now. And whatever. I guess they're all going to get up on stage or something. We'll see. Who knows? Not a debate. Maybe something will happen. Will it be like a UFC weigh-in? Will Christie and Trump get into a shoving match? I don't know. That's why Iowa is trending. There's a missing teen that is trending. Did you hear about this girl? This is such a strange story out of Arizona. A girl went missing when she was 14 years old. She's described as being extremely high-functioning autistic. Think about that. Because if you just glass over it, you're like, oh, a little autistic girl went missing. And we conjure up ideas of, some poor little babe in the woods who couldn't possibly defend herself. Let's all be concerned. But now she's described as extremely high functioning, which means she's like got some savant in her, which means that there's something that she's really good at and that she's like better than everybody else. High functioning. So here's the story. Arizona girl Alicia Navarro went missing in 2019 from her parents' home. 14 years old. She climbed out a window. She left a note. She left a note saying, Mom, Dad, love you. Sorry for this. I gotta go. Got something I gotta do. She disappeared. She said, I'll return someday. I promise. And then she disappeared, 14 years old. Now, the fear at the time was that she'd hooked up with some creep online, right? Some guy, something like that. 14-year-old girl. Highly functioning autistic, though, is what's interesting to me. Because, as I said, it was back in 2019. Well, just the other day, on her 18th birthday, she walked in to a police department in Montana and said, hi, my name is Alicia Navarro, and I have been missing. I've been listed as a missing person since 2019, and I'm here to say that I would like to be taking off the missing children's list because now I'm an adult, and I just want to go back to whatever I'm doing. She might be curing cancer in the mountains, right? Police describe her as being totally fine. Like, she looked normal. She was clean. She was well-spoken. She was articulate. She knew exactly what she was asking for. And wouldn't that be like somebody who is, touched with savantism or extremely high-functioning autism, to like just be waiting for that 18th day and then know exactly what legally she needs to do to get herself her freedom? Because I guess up until that point, she'd had some concerns about if police had picked her up, suddenly she's a missing girl. Here's how the story goes. An Arizona girl who disappeared in the night just days before her 15th birthday 4 years ago was found safe several states away this week when she walked into a police station and asked to be removed from the missing children's list. Alicia Navarro, now 18, walked into a police department in a tiny Montana town 40 miles from the Canadian border and identified herself as the teen who was reported missing in September of 2019. Alicia Navarro has been located, Glendale Public Safety Communications Manager Jose Santiago said during a press conference. She is by all accounts safe. She is by all accounts healthy. And she is by all accounts happy. I don't advocate for any 14-year-old disappearing. But what an incredible ending to this story. I feel terrible for what the parents must have gone through. But maybe the parents know a little bit. Yeah, I don't know. I need to know more about what's going on there with the parents. I certainly want to know what has gone on with Alicia Navarro. This is different. By the way, this is different. Like, we've seen a couple of cases recently here down in Houston, the case of Rudy Farias. Remember Rudy Farias? He was the guy that was missing for 8 years. He turned up beaten up on a church step, and it turned out he was never actually missing. They just filed a missing persons report, and but then he came home and nobody bothered to end it. And so the mom had to keep him hidden. It was just a whole weird thing. Anyway, that turned out to be kind of a hoax. Then we got Carly Russell. Carly Russell just hoaxed us all. That's not what this is. This is a 14-year-old who ran away from home successfully. That's what this is. 99.999% of kids that run away from home they turn around and come back 3 blocks away, right? And then there's probably like 0.111% that terrible thing happens to them. They live on the street. They become boy toys. They become meth heads. What are the horrid things? Let's be honest. 99% of them turn around and come back. How many succeed? Like, how many actually go, yeah, I'm going to run away. I'm going to build a new life for myself. I'm going to wait this out until I'm an actual adult. Then I'm going to come and tell everybody, hey, I did this on purpose. I'm doing fine. I was 14, highly functioning. Like, maybe she's got like an online job. Like, who knows what? I need to know her story. Like, what is she doing that she is totally fine? And, you know, what is with this lack of empathy towards her parents? Sorry, Mom. I'll be back someday. She talked to her mom too, by the way. Apparently they talked on the phone. She's not being detained by police. There is nothing. They're like, she's 18. She said that she was missing, and now she's not missing. She was missing. So it's not like she faked it. She did. She was a minor who ran away from home. She was missing. And now she's not. I don't know. I just think this is a very fascinating story. And I can't wait to hear what Alicia Navarro has been doing, because that is crazy. Mitch McConnell's back at work after having his moment, you know. I don't want to make fun of it. I'm just angry. Certainly those things come for all of us as we age. Human body is breaking down with every bat of our eyelashes, one little incremental piece at a time. So, you know, certainly not mocking the medical condition, but the man, it's the greater story is that our people are too freaking old. He's back. I just had kind of a brain fart is all he said. No, something went on there. You're one of the most powerful men in the United States. You don't seem to be able to carry on a conversation in front of a camera without freezing up, you know, getting the old Kentucky brain scramblies. Go away, okay? Go away. Oh, wait, he can't though, right? Because isn't the governor of governor of Kentucky's a Democrat. So if McConnell did go away, the governor of Kentucky would replace Republican McConnell with a Democrat. Huh. Yeah, that is a problem. Maybe that's why he can't go. I don't know. Anyway, McConnell says there's nothing wrong with him. So now let's move forward to Dianne Feinstein. One day later, 91-year-old Dianne Feinstein, who they're still, you know, putting a Hillary Clinton pantsuit on a hefty bag filled with old lady jello, a big hat. They put her in a wheelchair and roll her out there. God. So she did this yesterday. So here we got some video. It's only fair. We're going to show the video of Mitch McConnell, which we did the night it happened a number of times. So here's what happened with Feinstein. This is just yesterday. Oh my God, you guys. Hold on, I'll show it to you. 91-year-old Dianne Feinstein. This is her doing work.
Pardon me. Yeah. I would like to support a yes vote.
All right, so here, I need to explain what's going on. If you're looking at this picture, you can see her because she's in the green. She's right here, all right? She's sitting right here. These are her aides, her people. This girl, they're right behind her. This is another one of her people. She's right behind her. These are the puppet masters. These are the people who are working the strings on this old lady. 91 years old. This is a yes or no vote. They're just looking for yay or nay. She is completely lost in the proceedings, and she begins to make a statement that she made earlier, just rereading the same damn thing. They let her go on for a few minutes before her team rallies to her side and can be heard on microphone telling her exactly what to say. So here's how it plays out. These people should not be making decisions, whether it's Mitch McConnell or Dianne Feinstein or Joe Biden or, Donald Trump. None of these old people who seem to be a little bit screwy in the noggin should be in charge of anything anymore. And yet we keep electing them for what reason? I don't know. Here we go.
On this, it provides $823 billion. That's an increase of 26 billion for the Department of Defense. And it funds priorities submitted.
Yeah, just say aye.
Okay, just
Great.
aye.
Thank you.
Senator Feinstein.
All right. Here we'll show it again.
Priorities.
So at this point, she's just going on and on and on, and nobody knows what to do. Grand old lady of the Senate and all. So finally, one of her people leans in and is basically telling her right here what we're seeing. He's telling her, no, you just need to say yes or no. And then she seems to snap out of it, like, oh, wait, where am I? And then you hear the other girl tell her exactly what to say. And then she says it. And I don't know.
Submitted.
Yeah, just say aye.
Just
Okay,
say aye.
Just
say what you say. Okay.
Great.
aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And I do exactly as you say, because that's how this is all supposed to work. All right, Dianne Feinstein. She needs to go away as well. Okay, so here's one I need more of. All right. Are you ready for this one? So let me tell you about somebody who I've become interested in. Now, originally, I think I rolled my eyes because my first introduction to her was something that wasn't flattering. So I always looked at her as, actually in my mind, I think of her as, how do I clean this up? Sexable Michelle Bachmann. I call her Sexable Michelle Bachmann because she kind of looks like Michelle Bachmann, but she doesn't have the crazy, like just the madness, the crazy that makes Michelle Bachmann not attractive. So I'm talking about Nancy Mace. Do you guys know who South Carolina? Whatever. She's Congresswoman Nancy Mace. Oh, is she fun? Oh my God. Okay. First of all, here's what you need to know about her, because I found out quite a bit. She is the first woman ever to graduate from the Citadel, which is pretty cool. Because if you remember back in the 90s, there were all these girls that were trying to be the first and they would fail and it became like a big thing. And everybody was like, oh, that's not. And then quietly someone did it. And then people were like, girls graduate from the Citadel all the time. Yeah, well, Nancy Mace was that one. She was the one that made it. So tough. We can say that. She's tough. She's not a shrieking violent. Looks good on camera. She wanted to be a television journalist. She looks like somebody who could very easily have a show on Fox News. As I said, she looks like Michelle Bachmann, except maybe 30 years younger, maybe 40. I don't know how old Michelle Bachmann is. She started a PR firm, a very powerful PR firm on the East Coast. And their specialty was damage control, crisis management. She knows how to handle like bad stuff. And also imaging. Like she was really good at creating images for people. They came to her and they said, we want you to take over our search for, a new congressperson. And she said, okay, how about this? Me. And she just took everything that she knew and she became a congressperson, Nancy Mace. Now, look, I'm not talking about the politics of her. I'm talking about her story. Her story to me is fascinating. I love it. She's been married a bunch of times. She's been married. I think she's been divorced twice, which, is the same with me. And I'm like, man, I love this chick. This chick gets life. Life is not, well, anyway. So I started to like her because, and I'm not talking about the alien things, but I started to like her because she's one of the people who is on the alien investigative body in Congress that is talking to David Grush. And she's serious about it and she's cool about it and she's not being glib and she's not being skeptical. She's being open-minded and inquisitive. And I really like that. Okay. So that's just in the last couple of days, something that I've noticed out of her that I'm like, okay. You know what? Here's at the very least, even if someone is politically, ideologically different than her, she seems like someone you can work with. She seems like somebody who understands that politics is about compromise. Your side gives up something, my side gives up something. Nobody's entirely happy, but you know what? The greater good is served. She seems like somebody who gets that. Instead of do as I say, that whole thing, which is what a lot of us are pushing against, those of us Americans. So Nancy Mace, she digs, I guess she digs Tim Scott. She's like, she's kind of pushing for Tim Scott. And by the way, if you want to get into her politics, she's all over the place. So, whatever. She's supporting Tim Scott, who is running for president. So she showed up at a Tim Scott prayer breakfast the other day. Sorry, hold on. I got to do this. Yesterday, she showed up at Tim Scott's prayer breakfast. This is a prayer breakfast, okay? And this is Nancy Mace showing up for the prayer breakfast, getting up on mic. This isn't a hot mic situation. This wasn't a story that she was telling somebody. Like, oh, here's why I'm running a little bit behind. It's not a story. She got up and she went, this is who I am. Here's a story from my life. Like it, love it, whatever. But here's what's funny. She's at a prayer conference. She's at a prayer breakfast, like eggs in the Lord or something, one of them kind of deals. And I don't know. I like her. I'm sorry. Here she is. This is Nancy Mace at Tim Scott's prayer breakfast from yesterday.
Take the advice, and then I end up paying for it when I don't take the advice. But want to thank you for pulling this together. Another year, another standing room only event. And when I woke up this morning at 7, I was getting picked up at 7:45. Patrick, my fiance, tried to pull me by my waist over this morning in bed. And I was like, no, baby, we don't got time for that this morning. I got to get to the prayer breakfast and I got to be on time, and a little TMI, but
got to get to the prayer. I'd love to have premarital sex with you. I'd love to have, I'm admitting that we're living in sin, and yet here I am at a prayer breakfast. Patrick, I would love to have sin sex with you, but I've got to go and, pretend like I'm a holy roller at a prayer breakfast. No qualms about that. That's not a mistake. She's not stupid. You know what she is? She's savvy. She knows that everybody would be like, yeah, I get it. Okay. And you know who's going to be, she shouldn't say that. The people who don't matter anymore. That's a past generation. This generation of Christian has premarital sex. This generation and she understands this. And she's being lambasted for this. Like, what a foolish thing. No, she gets it. She gets what this is all about. She's smart. She ran crisis management. That was her specialty. She did imaging and branding for individuals, especially political candidates. She knows exactly what tracks with people. And this kind of shit does. Here she is, one more time, talking about why she was almost late. Because her husband, or not husband, the man she's living in sin with, tried to bang her in the morning.
Patrick, my fiance, tried to pull me by my waist over this morning in bed, and I was like, no, baby, we don't got time for that this morning. I got to get to the prayer breakfast, and I got to be on time, and a little TMI. But
no, perfect.
He can wait. I'll see him later tonight.
She's going to bang him later tonight. She is telling the prayer breakfast, no, I don't have any problems with the whole premarital sex thing. Yeah, no, I'm going to bang him later tonight.
But I was here early today for you, Tim, and I think everybody was here early for you today. And I think that's a true testament to your leadership, to your faith, and your ability to bring people together and unify our country, because our country is so divided right now. One of my kids, my oldest, just had his car broken into.
Okay. All right. There you have it. That is Nancy Mason. I'm telling you, man, that's what I want. That's the kind of honesty I want. I want someone who isn't a robot, who is, perfect. These people aren't perfect. Nobody is perfect. We understand that now. I want somebody who we can relate to. I want somebody who seems competent, decent, and is relatable and isn't obviously up there. I like to brag on, I have no skills. I'm not good at anything, but I am good at sizing people up. And that's important when you're trying to size someone up. What are they revealing about themselves? How comfortable are they revealing things about themselves? If they are comfortable in revealing these things, that means that they're confident. And if they're confident 9 times out of 10, that means they're sincere. If someone's trying to dupe you or put on some kind of a show for you and trick you into thinking there's something that they're not being sincere, and therefore they don't have that level of confidence. She doesn't give a shit. She's up there. She knows she's at a prayer breakfast. She's a cool chick. She's like, yeah, of course. Okay, I've been married twice. You people knew that before you booked me. Okay, I have sex. You should see my entrepreneur fiance, Patrick. Anyway, that's why she's getting. I feel like I want to say this in this way because she's getting hammered by a lot of people. Like, how dare she? Oh yeah, you're right. How dare she just drop the veneer of bullshit and just be a typical fucking woman? She's a single woman. She's got a fiance. You don't think you don't. Moving on. How about this one? Here's another story. Okay, here now we got an a-hole congressman, some dude out of Nancy Mace seems to be a cool ass congresswoman, and now we've got a story about an a-hole congressman. All right, so here's the story you need to know. So, in the United States Senate, they have a sports staff of pages, and these pages are teenagers. A lot of times, high school students, college students, young people. They walk around, they get coffee, they fetch documents, they run from office to office with messages. You know, they are pages. They are there for the convenience of the senators. Traditionally, in the summer months, when Congress sometimes goes late with things after hours, it has been tradition for the Senate pages to stay and serve the congressmen who are staying late, to sort of be backup help if Congress is staying late, like say they're meeting at midnight. Congress is meeting at midnight in the summer months, as they sometimes do, as they did last night. It has been tradition that the Senate pages, not the congressional pages, that the Senate pages, some of them volunteer to stay behind to back up any additional needs that might be done because it's late at night and let's get through this, right? Tradition. It's a kindness between the upper and the lower house. So this occurred on Tuesday night, and a number of the Senate pages who were doing double duty, again, it has become tradition that they gather in the rotunda. They gather in the rotunda area because if they are needed, the doors can be swung open and they say, we need 2 guys, and they come running in. Now, a lot of times when they're not needed, and again, this is a tradition that has been going on in Congress for over 100 years, they lay around. Maybe they got their jackets off. You know, these are kids in the summer serving as congressional and senatorial pages. So maybe they got their jackets off. Maybe they're relaxing. Midnight. Actually, this particular story, I think it was 2:00, and we'll get to it. Anyway, here's the story of an asshole congressman. Remember, these are Senate pages volunteering to pull overnight duty in case any congressman need any kind of help that can't be handled by the congressional pages. Representative Derek Van Orden of Wisconsin is in hot water after he cursed out a group of teenage Senate pages in the Capitol Rotunda early Thursday morning. According to a transcript written by a page minutes after the incident and obtained by The Hill, Van Orden called the pages jackasses and pieces of shit and told them he didn't give a fuck who they were. The pages are a group of 16 and 17-year-olds who assist Senate operations, and when the Senate or Congress works late, as it did on Wednesday, on national defense authorizations, pages generally rest while pulling double duty in the rotunda area. Wake the F up, you little shits! What the F are you all doing? Get the F out of here! You're defiling this space, you pieces of shit! Van Orden screamed. Who the F are you? Van Orden asked, to which one page said we're Senate pages, sir. I don't give an F who you are! Get out! You jackasses, get out! The incident, which occurred just after midnight, outraged members of the upper chamber. All the other senators. This guy's a congressman taking the shit out of one of their pages who is doing double duty to serve them because they can't get their shit together enough to get closed during 9 to 5 business hours. So now the senators are like, whoa, 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 asshole. You don't talk to our kids. So this is the situation we got. The incident which occurred just after midnight outraged members of the upper chamber on both sides of the political spectrum, with one calling the string of remarks horrible. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer later on Thursday took to the Senate floor to defend the pages. I understand that late last night, a member of the House majority thought it appropriate to curse at some of these young people, these teenagers, in the rotunda. I was shocked when I heard about it, and I am further shocked at his refusal to apologize to these young people. I can't speak, he said, I can't speak for the House of Representatives, but I do not think that one member's disrespect is shared by this body, Senate Leader Mitch McConnell said. So you got McConnell not freezing up. At least McConnell was able to scream a defense for these kids. Man, just what a dick. Look, what was this? When he didn't get his way, here's what happened. He probably didn't get his way. He storms out this idiot, fat, 40-something-year-old, dumbass, nothing of a congressman from Wisconsin. Probably didn't get his way on something, or once again was marginalized because he's a fucking idiot. And he comes bursting through the doors at midnight, in a darkened rotunda area, probably pulls out a little vial of blow to make daddy feel good, notices a bunch of fucking kids and goes, "Rah, rah, rah." You know what I mean? That's probably what happened. This emotional infant of a piece of shit. I hope he's censured. Kids, I've had a lot of interns. I've been an intern. These people of power who have absolutely no respect for the fact that there are people there trying to learn and in the process serving you. No respect for that. All right, let's move on. Little jackasses. That's what he called them. What else do we have here? Oh, okay. How about baby workouts? See this? There's a story going around that says that it's smart to take your baby to the gym. What for? I thought that, especially moms, I thought they went to the gym to get away from their babies. And then the gym industry created that infernal baby and me thing where now you got to bring your baby to the gym. It used to be the reason that you could, moms would dump baby off with, grandma or whatever under the guise of going out for a workout. And then they'd show up 5 hours later with a buzz, I just met some friends for drinks after. That's now you got to take your baby. Now they're saying take your baby to the workouts, which, I'm not going to bore you with the whole article, but one of the things that it says is that if you are the kind of person, if you are dedicated to health and fitness and you want your baby or your child to grow up in that same way, get your child conditioned to seeing the gym as not just a place you go every once in a while, but an absolutely expected and consistent part of daily life. And that starts with bringing your baby to a gym. When your baby is first noticing things, they're saying, look, a lot of us don't go to the gym because we were raised in different eras where working out was viewed by many as punishment. But if you can raise your child in a way that working out and physical fitness isn't viewed as punishment. I mean, for me, running was punishment. What? Offsides again? Take a lap. I mean, that was the generation we were from. I can tell you my son, my 14-year-old son, he thinks going to the gym, he's being raised in a way that dictates he will have a gym membership his entire life. He will go to a gym with consistency at least 3-4 times a week. I mean, he's football training now, so it's crazy. But that is just a part of his lifestyle. That's because of his mom. His mom was a gym workout, yoga workout, all that kind of stuff. And that's all he knew growing up, that this is what you do as a person. You do these sit-ups, you do these. So that's good. But they're saying, the baby workout now isn't just about, mom and, look at baby. It's about actually getting the baby accustomed to the idea that the workout facility isn't necessarily a bad thing or a place you shouldn't want to go. That I know that I still struggle with it because of the generation I came from. I view working out as a punishment, as a dread, as something bad. Meanwhile, there are kids out there, there are people, and I know many of them who view working out as a treat. How do I get my mind there? Holy shit. Cuban inflation is trending. Cuban inflation is trending today. You want to know why? Here's the headline. I'm just going to read you the headline because I don't give a shit about Cuban inflation. Cuban inflation, here's the headline. In Cuba, a piece of Gouda cheese costs state workers a monthly salary. Why eating Gouda cheese? It was good. I don't know what Gouda. I don't eat Gouda cheese. What is Gouda cheese? That sounds fancy. Isn't that like in the United States of America? Beluga caviar costs state workers a month's salary. Well, I mean, what is Gouda? Is that rare in Cuba? Do they need Gouda? That's not a problem. You know what? If that's the worst thing about your country's economic situation is that the price of Gouda cheese is outrageous, you're doing well. All right. That's not a headline. That's stupid. That's Gouda cheese. So what's cheaper cheese cost? That would be my question. Well, Gouda cheese. That's your indication that inflation is out of control. Okay. Unless I don't know much about Cuban cuisine. Is Gouda a big player? Could be a problem. 800 great white sharks. How about that? 800 great white sharks. That's right. That's the number that the Council for the People Who Count Sharks. I don't know who did this, and I'm not going to open up the page because let's roll, baby. Somebody who counts sharks is saying that between 2015 and 2018, 3 years, 800 great white sharks visited the coast of Cape Cod. No, thank you. Yeah, which would make that particular area of Cape Cod the most shark-infested waters in the world. Whoa, what? Yeah, 800 great white sharks have been tracked and identified as having passed through the Cape Cod beach area between 2015 and 2018. I don't know if that's a lot. Look, 800's a lot. 800. If someone were to tip $800, it would fund our entire next 2 months. Well, month and a half. So I know the value of 800. That's a lot. Great white sharks. Great white shark. 800 great white sharks. Not all at once, mind you, because that would be a problem. That would be a Shark Week special. Manatee. A manatee has died in full view of a whole bunch of people at some aquarium in Florida. And embarrassingly enough, you know how this manatee died? No, of course you don't, because that would be weird if you did. That's why you're here. The manatee was having like crazy rough sex with her brother. Look at me projecting human values onto the manatee world. Like, I don't know if that's weird for them. Maybe that's not. Maybe that's the only people. I don't know. I mean, what do we? I know with humans, we worry about the degradation. We worry about the degradation of the gene pool, right? When a brother and a sister has a kid, we worry about the health in all regard for the offspring of people that are that closely related blood-wise. I know that's a problem. Is that an issue with manatees? Aren't they all kind of retarded? Is there like well, he's a smart manatee, he's a dumb manatee? I don't know. A Florida manatee died early. Oh, this isn't a story from earlier this year. What the hell is this? A Florida manatee died earlier this year after having too much high-intensity sex with his brother. His brother? It was gay? This was deadly gay manatee sex? Well, I don't even think Pornhub has a category for this. Necropsy results revealed that 38-year-old Hugh, I got sweat in my eye, revealed that 38-year-old Hugh died in April after succumbing to traumatic injuries caused by a sexual encounter with another large male manatee at the facility. It was his brother Buffett. So, all right, so he got these two. All right, so they're brothers, Hugh and Buffett. There are a couple of manatees on the make. They're just a couple of dudes. And they're in what would, of course, be a manatee prison. So I guess this is like two brothers spending their whole life in a prison cell together. Two brothers, their whole life. At some point, right? So I'm thinking that's probably what happened with the manatees, that they're just like, God, we're both so horny, A Florida manatee died earlier this year after having too much high-intensity sex with his brother. One of the fatal injuries was a 14.5 centimeter rip in Hugh's colon. This was like Big Brother, Little Brother manatee rape. This is awful. This is the worst story. A 14.5, I don't want to know what 14.5 centimeters is. It was a rip in his colon. We're talking about manatees. What are these things? Manatees, they're big, right? They're giant. A fecal sample collected from Hugh. Wait, which one lived? Oh, Hugh died. Okay, so it was Buffett. But it sounds, oh my God. It sounds like Buffett was the aggressor. It sounds like something happened inside Hugh's butt or whatever, colon, right? And then how you get there, I don't know. Look at me again. I'm projecting human biologics. I have no idea how this works with manatees. One of the fatal injuries was a 14.5 centimeter rip in Hugh's colon. A fecal sample collected from Hugh after, a fecal sample collected from Hugh, dead Hugh. A fecal sample collected from dead Hugh after the encounter, which, let's be honest, incestuous rape, confirmed the presence of fresh blood, but employees at the Marine Laboratory and Aquarium reportedly allowed the brothers to continue engaging in high-intensity interactions and occasional penetration throughout the day. Well, yeah, how are you going to stop who wants to break up two manatees from having sex? Boy, that's some Charlie work. If I ever heard it, I ain't going to volunteer for that. How do you break up two manatees? They're in a pool. Ain't no human being going to get in a pool. Two horny manatees are trying to go at it, and you're a human. What do you bench press? 200 pounds? You honestly think you're going to be able to break up two manatees? I don't. I got news for you, man. Neither the Deep or Aquaman are real characters. They ain't coming to have a conversation with these two about, incestuous relationships. At approximately 5:15 p.m., the larger male was observed penetrating the smaller male. When the larger male swam away, the smaller male was seen unresponsive at the bottom of the pool. Oh, happy Friday, you guys. Good Lord. I don't feel good at all about moving forward with today's show. That took a lot out of me, gang. I don't like that. That was rough. All right, let's see here. What else do we have? Hold on, trying to move through here. I'm having a problem seeing. Having trouble. Okay, sorry. Is the chat room working okay? If you guys could let me know, that'd be great, because I've got some weird chat room stuff going on. All right, manatee sex. That's horrible. Violence. I don't know what to make of that. Do with that story what you will. I just put it in your brain, and now you know it. I do apologize for that, but also, let's talk about this one. Hey, I don't know what this is. I thought it was just a thing, but apparently there's another thing that's like that thing that is a different thing that I don't know. I confuse. What is Mega Millions? What was the one we just came out of? Powerball? Powerball. What is the difference between Mega Millions and Powerball? Is Powerball part of this? Is Mega Millions is multi-state, right? Mega Millions. Anyway, Mega Millions has a jackpot and a drawing tonight that, because we were all paying attention to Powerball, which went over 100 million. Nobody was watching that there hasn't been a winner in the Mega Millions since like April. And the Mega Millions drawing for tonight is $910 million. $910 million. So get in line for your Mega Millions ticket. And should you win, please tip a little something to the show. I would be so pissed if one of you chat room people won the Mega Millions tonight and didn't tip the show at least $100. That's, honestly, I mean, I expect more, no offense. Like, if you only tipped $100 after winning $900 million and you are someone who participates in the chat room every day, and basically anything under 10 million would not be acceptable. But I'm just saying, I would, if you guys win, tip the show. That's all I'm saying. Mega Millions tonight, jackpot, $910 million. If you take the payout, you know what I mean? If you take the one time, if you do what you're supposed to do, which is say, I don't have any faith in this country, this society, or this culture. Give it all to me right now. If you got them in gold coins, I'll take them in gold coins. Let's do it that way. Is gold coins? It's not. Okay. Well, then just give me it all right now. It would be 910 if you're an idiot who wants to trust that you're going to be paid off over the next 20 years. It's 910 million, or it's 464 million if you just say, give it to me in gold bullion. Just let's do that. Give it to me in gasoline. give it to me in land in Nevada and gasoline. That's what I wanted in. And I'll just build an empire from there. I'll just go from there. CNN's got a bit of a scandal going on. Yeah. Hold on. I'm going to tell you about the CNN scandal. Jeff Zucker, we told you a story about Jeff Zucker yesterday, but let me tell you something. This is the second day in a row where there is a story about Jeffrey Zucker, the former president of CNN, that is trending, that is not flattering to him. Yesterday's story that was put out about Jeff Zucker was that he tried to buy CNN, but he went to all of these billionaires and they turned him down because they don't have faith in his ability to do it. That was not a good story for Jeff Zucker's reputation that made a lot of splashy headlines yesterday. Comes this one. today, looks like Allison Camerata, who is one of the hots that they employ over there at CNN currently. Allison Camerata was there during the Jeff Zucker regime. Apparently, Allison Camerata was videotaped or filmed, or photographed, or something. I haven't seen it, but they're talking about it. New York Post is talking about it. Holding hands at Don Lemon's Hamptons party last weekend with Jeff Zucker. Allison Camerata, who is currently employed with CNN, is out there holding hands with Jeffrey Zucker and partying with CNN enemy number one, Don Lemon. How dare she? So obviously the point is this: 2 stories in a row that are taking down Jeff Zucker. Somebody's trying to take down Jeff Zucker. And I think it very well might be the current people who are running CNN, Warner Brothers. I think that they're trying to discredit him. Maybe he is making a move. Maybe there is a move with Jeff Zucker behind the scenes where he's trying to raise capital to make a hostile bid for CNN, to buy CNN and retake control of CNN. That's not outside the realm of speculation. These kinds of things happen all the time. So it's just interesting that over the course of the last couple of days, there have been a few stories about a former president of CNN that are embarrassing to him because he shouldn't be in the headlines. He's the former president of ABC. What's his name? You don't know. Ted Sarandos. We don't hear stories about him all the time. Why? Because nobody's targeting him. Seems like somebody's got it in for Jeff Zucker. And maybe rightfully so. The guy might be a D-bag, but whatever. I'm just looking at these stories and going, isn't that interesting? He's got 2 days of bad ink. That means somebody is filling the pages with bad ink about him. How about this story? I just will not. This will not stand. This aggression. I need a sip of hour-and-a-half-old coffee before I can get into this next story, because I am outraged, people, and you should be outraged with me. Two of our nation's most wonderful people and my favorite celebrity couple went through some trouble over the weekend in Boston Airport. And it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Of course, I'm talking about the Bell Shepherds, the Bell Shepherds, the beautiful, sweet, all-American family that is comprised of Kristen Bell, just a delightful young actress who does everything wonderfully, and her incredibly interesting, decent, smart, talented husband, Dak Shepard. Those are the Bell Shepherds, Dak Shepard and Kristen Bell. Now, full disclosure, I feel I know this family. I feel I know this family intimately, as I am a diehard fan of the Dak Shepard podcast, Armchair Expert. He is so good. He is so good. He is better at that thing, that radio thing, because really we're talking about a skill, being able to be a talk show host. This was my great fear. My great fear the whole time that I was having success in talk radio, my great fear was that people were going to learn how easy this is. And that that there was obviously a pecking order. Not everybody can do it. Not everybody can talk I've just pretty much for the last, hour and 39 minutes been speaking in one continuous stream of consciousness. But so not everybody can do that. I can understand. But, once podcasts became a thing and people with real talent, and by people with real talent, I mean like stand-up comedians and actors and stuff like that. Once those people started doing podcasts, it became like, oh my God, they're so good at this too. They're good. Like Smartless. I don't know if you listen to Smartless. That's just 3 friends. It's Will Arnett, Jason Bateman, and Sean, the guy, Will and Grace, Jack, Sean, that guy. And they're just 3 friends, and they just interview a celebrity friend. And the chemistry is amazing because they're friends, and it's interesting to listen to because they're talented already. See, we already know they're funny and interesting. Anyway, so the Dak Shepard's Kristen Bell family, they were in Boston, and their flight got delayed by 9 hours. So, and by the way, can I just say, if I had to be stranded in an airport with anybody for 9 hours, it very well might be Dak Shepard and Kristen Bell. How much fun would that be? Why? Because that's how Dak Shepard is. Dak Shepard would be like the greatest guy in the world to go through anything rough with, because he's just like Mr. Okay, Let's make this work. This sucks, granted, but we don't have to kill ourselves over. He is just so optimistic. He would have they're playing cards 9 hours. They're stranded in this airport. They got their kids. They got their little Bell Shepherd kids. They got some friends that they're traveling with. Here's the problem. There wasn't a hotel for 50 miles, according to Kristen Bell and Dak Shepard. Both of them were updating everybody on their Instagram. Yeah, I'll show you the pictures. Yeah, we got pictures of these people. You have to take my word for it. Hold on, where is it? Here we go. The Bell Shepherds. Their flight was delayed 9 hours. They couldn't get a hotel room anywhere. There was nowhere for them to stay. So what they did was they just went to the gift shops and they bought $600 in pillows and blankets, and they made like a fort, because they got kids, because they're stuck in the airport for 9 hours because the airlines did something. It's not their fault. They bought a ticket at a specific time. It was the airline who couldn't follow through on that promise. So now they're making the best of it. They spent $600 on pillows. They spent $600 on blankets and all this kind of stuff. And they're playing Uno. Here, I'll show you. There's a whole video and everything, if we can get it. So here's the problem with it. They were asked to leave. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Airport security came in and threw out America's most lovely couple. Threw them out. Said, you can't do this here. And they're like, come on, we got kids. We're not bothering anybody. We're in the corner. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning in Boston Logan. They threw them out on the streets like Jesus and Mary. Cast aside. The Bell Shepherds were sent into a hostel. I don't know if it was hostile. I don't know what the weather was in Boston this weekend. But whatever it was. All right, so here it is. Let's watch this. I think there's a video. There's actually a video we can watch. Kristen Bell, Dak Shepard kicked out of Boston Airport after trying to sleep at gate after 9-hour delays. Okay. Show me the video. We got to watch this. What are we doing? I don't want to know manufactured home bull crap. All right. Oh, what? Hold on, guys. All right, so here we go. Maybe we won't get video, but there's a picture. There's a picture of them all just sitting there. You see, Dax is on the if you're looking at it, he's on the right. He's wearing a ball cap. He's smiling. Seems to be on his phone. Then you got lovely Kristen. Look at her. She's kind of mugging for the camera. She's like, oh, this sucks. I mean, they look like they got some kids going through some stuff, right? I'm seeing some heads that are, as I look down, I'm seeing people that aren't necessarily enjoying themselves. But look at the Bell Shepherds. They seem to be making the best of it. Certainly Dax. Dax is smiling. He looks happy. All right, here's Kristen. She apparently decided to brush her teeth in a fountain. Got to do what you got to do if you got to brush your teeth. Let's see. Here you go. You got Dax. They bought a whole bunch of blankets and sleeping bags and stuff like that. Looks like they're playing a game of Uno. Sitting there playing. They're not bothering anybody. It's the airport. The airport. What's this here now? Is this a video? I'm looking for a video. Video won't let me play the video. All right, I guess that's it. So here's what ended up happening, which is just right. Of course, this ended up happening. Like Jesus and Mary, they did find sanctuary. They were taken in because of Instagram. One of their friends, like a friend of a friend, apparently Kristen Bell. Okay, so here's the story as it read. So Kristen Bell has a friend, a really good friend in LA, like one of her best friends. And her best friend had a college roommate who lives in Boston currently. Kristen Bell's best friend's college roommate saw Kristen Bell do this on Instagram and reached out to her friend, her former roommate, and said, hey, look, I see your girl Kristen is stuck in Boston with nowhere to go. They've been kicked out on the street. Why don't they just come on over? They can stay at my place. And that's how it was rectified, because everybody loves Kristen Bell and Dak Shepard. And they ended up just crashing a couple of miles from the airport at the friend of one of their friends. I don't know. Anyway, any opportunity to talk about the lovely Bell Shepherds, I will. And also, I'm not kidding you, man. If you guys really love, obviously you like some form of spoken word media, if you're tuned into this. If you're unfamiliar with Armchair Expert, it's Dak Shepard. He's unbelievably interesting. He's fascinating. And he's just an open book, everything. And he just sits there and he interviews big stars really big stars. They just come in and they sit there, and it's not like a big star who does an interview because they're promoting their newest project. No, these are big stars who are coming in to shoot the shit with Dak Shepard because over his career in Hollywood, he has gained a reputation as being really fun at parties. That's what he ascribes his success on why he gets the guests and why he was told he needed to do a podcast. Because over the past 24 years or so, Dak Shepard may not be an A-list star, but he was invited to all the cool parties. And his wife, Kristen Bell, certainly brings him to a different level. She's a much bigger star than he is. And he was just always known as the guy that could hold court that everybody enjoyed talking to at parties. And he turned that into one of what I think is one of the best conversational podcasts that's out there. And that's Dak Shepard, Armchair Expert. Or Smartless is good too. But the Armchair Expert, I think, is even better. Just because he's just so good. He's just such a dude. All right. So the Bell Shepherds, all good that ends good, I guess. I don't know. We'll say it that way. Sure, why not? Hugh says, how can you not get a hotel? Yeah, they were saying that apparently they were all sold out. I don't know. You're right. I mean, I thought that too, Hugh. I was like, look, if you got that much money and they're willing to spend $600 on pillows, so it's not like maybe, I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, they probably could have gotten like a motel. You know what I mean? That's what I'm wondering, right? But I get it. They'd rather stay at a stranger, a friend of a friend's. They'd rather stay at a friend of a friend's place than a Motel 6. All right. So this is the last one that I have for today. This is a story that I wanted to share with you guys. Yesterday, I began my attempt to knock down James Parker and his dominance in the Florida story landscape world. James Parker, Florida Stories, beautiful podcast. You can find that everywhere. I did a Floridians story yesterday concerning a guy who sprayed a woman in the face, and I'm going to do another one today. Because this is some hardcore bitches, and there's nothing that I like more than hardcore bitches who are trading hands at a backyard kegger on the 4th of July. And that's what we have here coming out of Florida. Really, it's just about a picture. So let me just do this. Let me just show you these two, and then I'll tell you the story. How about that? Where are they? Come on. All right, here we go. Okay. Give me a second. No, I'm not locked up. Okay, here we go. All right, so let me introduce you to this chick. I'll tell you her name in a second. Here you go. Boom. There you go. All right, this chick right here. Florida teen smirks in mugshot after having her ear bit off in wild house party brawl. Okay. That white thing around her head, that's not fashion. Her ear got bit off in a brawl that I'm not going to, she seems to have instigated, and look at her. She's got her mugshot. This is a hardcore chick. She's like, most girls, they be crying. They're afraid they're in trouble from their daddy or whatever. They're freaking out because now they're disfigured. This is not an ugly girl. I bet you this is a cute teenage girl. Now she's missing an ear. Most girls would be in a completely different mental place. Look at this one. She's like, yeah, fuck yeah, I lost an ear. You want some of this? All right, so here's the story. There was a big party on the 4th of July in some backyard somewhere in Florida. And there was a girl who was going around observed to have been stealing alcohol and vape pens. So they're stealing a bunch of vape. Is this a thing now? Do people stealing vape pens? Ugh, whatever. So the girl who was going around trying to steal vape pens was 23-year-old. Hold on, what's her name? Let's get the names of these two chicks. The girl who was going around stealing vape pens is 23-year-old Macy Reagan. Okay. The girl who got her ear bit off, the girl we're looking at right now, is Dixie Styles. She's 18 years old. She's Dixie. Oh, does she seem awesome? Does she seem like just, oh, such fun? Florida trailer trash, hardcore 18-year-old chick who don't give a fuck. Dixie, her name is Dixie Styles. Yeah, this chick's cool. I like this chick. Dixie Styles, 18. This is her. She got her ear bit off. She confronted Macy Reagan. Macy Reagan was the one they thought was stealing booze and vape pens. She confronted her at the front door as Macy Reagan was trying to get out. Macy Reagan, here, let me show you Macy Reagan. This is, by the way, when I give you the rest of the story, you're going to think Dixie here is even more badass, okay? Here you go. Now we're looking at Macy Reagan, all right? Macy Reagan, granted, she took a couple of fists from old Dixie, it appears. Your eyes pretty fuck. Macy Reagan's good looking. It's a hot chick. These are two chicks that are, they got stuff to lose if they scar themselves up in fights, but they don't care because they're Floridians and they're going for it. So here you go. She gets confronted at the door. Hey, why are you stealing booze and vape pens? Says 18-year-old Dixie, who's afraid of nothing. This chick, Macy, Dixie and Macy, how Florida is that? Macy goes, step off, bitch. I ain't stealed nothing. And I don't know that's how she talk. I just think it is. I just assume that, there's some of that in there. Dixie, at that point, well, bam, probably that shiner she's got over her right eye. That's where she goes, bam, she clocks her right in the right eye. Macy here, 23 years old, can't believe this little 18-year-old bitch is throwing down on her. She's Macy Reagan, for crying out loud. She's probably got some stripes in the street. She knows what's happening. She backs up and pulls out a gun and points it at old Dixie. All right, let's go back and see Dixie again, because you're gonna want to look at Dixie when you hear what old Dixie did. So Macy pulls a gun after getting punched in the face by Dixie, and Dixie just takes the gun away from her. Just takes the gun away from her. She disarms her. Dixie doesn't go, okay, that's enough. I didn't know you had a gun. Look, come on, let's all be cool. She didn't do that because she's Dixie. She's Dixie Styles. She don't play like that. She took the gun away from her. Bullets be damned. No gun never fired, thankfully. Thank God. But she took the gun away from her and then proceeded to beat the snot out of her, which, as you can see from the face, she certainly does look a little bit worse, at least from the face. Downside being, while she was beating the snot out of her, old Macy here, old Macy Reagan, Macy bit off old Dixie Styles' ear. And they both got arrested. And now here sits Dixie. Look at her, man. How about, can we have a round of applause for Dixie? Some thieves show up at a party, start stealing shit. Dixie ain't letting that shit go down. Dixie's like a superhero. Dixie confronts the older girl. Obviously the older girl's a piece of shit because she had a gun and was willing to pull it. So Dixie was onto something. I bet they were doing something based on the actions that followed Dixie's accusations. Obviously, they were capable of bad deeds. So that kind of helps Dixie. She gets her ear bitten off. She whips ass. She takes a gun away. Dixie is a hero. Now, I know the segment is called Floridians, and that's just a fun little play on words. But no, Dixie is no Floridian. Dixie's a badass lady. All right, guys, that does it. Appreciate you so much hanging out with me today. I got a big weekend with the boy planned. Oh, we're going to have some fun. I think we're going to do mini golf. Oh, guys. So we're big into batting cages and all that. We love to do it. Top Golf right there on Park. He likes the batting cages, but also we do the mini golf. Well, we don't do the Top Golf. Top Golf is too expensive. He goes, okay. This is fine. We don't do Top Golf. I'm not good at it. It's too expensive. But he's like, we need to do Top Golf. We should do Top Golf. And I'm like, I don't want to do Top Golf. Look, let's play mini golf all day. We can spend hours in the batting cages. I just don't want to go up there. I suck at it. And then because I suck at it, I start wanting to order, and it's way too easy to order expensive food off the menu up there. And before you know it, the Topgolf experience is now like $100. And so my kid goes to me. No, never mind. I won't tell this story. I can't tell this story. But anyway, we're probably gonna go to Topgolf, and we're gonna play mini golf because I'm not very athletic, but I am pretty good at mini golf. I don't know what it is. I don't even necessarily try. It's just I do pretty good at mini golf. And my son and I have been playing mini golf for years because it's one of the things that I'm kind of good at. I can drain long putts without even trying. Like, look, I can't drive. Obviously, remember, I don't do Topgolf because I can't drive because I suck at that. But if it's just like I can do that pretty good. Not like, to the level of I should be getting my PGA card, but I'm not bad. If a whole bunch of strangers go out to mini golf, I am certainly not going to be the worst. I might be one of the better ones. But anyway, so I've played a lot of mini golf with my son over the years, and I kick his ass. And I never take it easy on him. No. You don't need to. He's got to try and try. He's got to keep trying. And it's not up to the father or the people who are raising him to make it easy for him. He doesn't need these victories or participation trophies. Victory, glory, that's all earned. And with the proper coaching, the proper love and guidance, you can earn that organically. That's the best way to do it. Well, guess what? Last Saturday, my son, for the first time ever, destroyed me at mini golf. And if I'm being honest, it's not like I had a bad round. It's not like I was particularly not playing up to my standards. I was playing a typical game of mini golf for me. Just I was doing well. He was draining holes in one. He's like, so we got to go back again this weekend. So that's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to a rematch. There is no way that he could have. He's already, I'll tell you, this happened in stages with my kid. It started with him going, I need a pair of shoes. Can I wear a pair of your shoes? Because we were running somewhere. I go, yeah, just grab my gym shoes and he came out and he was holding my gym shoes and he goes, I can't wear them. They're too tight. Oh, God. When your 12-year-old kid, when their shoe size is now a size bigger than their dad's. By the way, my son's shoe size is now 2 sizes bigger than me. I'm 13. That's ridiculous. Anyway, so it started with the shoe size, and then it became wrestling. Just wrestling around with your kid, and you start to realize you're like, oh Jesus, that's real power. That's real muscle power, right? Oh, I can't do that. I can't do it. And it used to be because you play with your kids, you dominate them. You're used to why you're hitting yourself. He can do that to me now. He can do while you're hitting yourself, while you're hitting. I'm like, I don't want to do this. So those were all sort of these little incremental changes that occurred, between me and my son, where I have to start realizing that he's a young man, not a little boy anymore. And a big one happened last Saturday when he absolutely kicked my ass at mini golf. So we're going to be doing that again. That's something I'm very much looking forward to tomorrow night. Topgolf. Unless it's like 105. Oh my God. If we can't do the batting kit, you can't go. First of all, Topgolf, if you don't mind, I love you. You're a terrific part of any community you're a part of. But can we please have a look at the batting cages and maybe make some of them work better? Or how about just have them work? Because, I'm sick of going there. Because they make you buy your batting, you buy your batting cages, and then you you walk around to where the batting cages are. And it's only after you paid that you realize that the fast cages aren't working and that you're not going to be able to get your swings in the fast cages, which is all my kid is worried about. He started out in the slow and then skipped medium and went straight to fast. And he's been in fast. He's doing really good. He's never played baseball before, but I'm trying to turn him into a hitter. And right now he's just a meatball swinger, but whatever, that's fine. It's fine. It's hand-eye coordination at this point. Every time we go there, the fast ones are either jacked up or they're locked up. Like, sorry, this one isn't working. You know what's always available though? Super fast. Ain't nobody want to go in super fast. Super fast ain't fun for anybody, especially a 50-something-year-old dad and his 14-year-old son. We don't want your super fast and slow. Super slow. which you don't want your kid, especially if he's learning how to hit. You don't want him going into slow because it just screws up the timing. It's just everything. You want him to just, learn an approximate speed to what he'll be facing should he play some organized baseball. And at this stage, he's going into high school. That would be fast because he's going to face some hurlers in high school. All right, what else? Anything else that I need to mention? No, that's it. Thank you to those of you who have tipped the show this week. Next week, we're going to push really hard because this is the end of the month and we need to, boom, get over the edge. We need to get August paid for so we can continue doing shows. You can tip the show through Venmo and Cash App. I think I heard somebody tip earlier today, so thank you. I appreciate that. It's always a sad day when we finish a show with no tip, so I appreciate that. That makes me feel like maybe for whatever reason, all of this was worth it. No, of course it is, because it makes me feel good, and you people joining me every day, Monday through Friday at noon, does more for my spirit and my psyche than you will ever know. So on that note, let's wrap up this show. Follow, subscribe, do all of those things that we like to do here. Hold on, where is it? Because breaking news and those kinds of things, if there's like a big breaking news story over the weekend, I will jump in. I will do a little bit of flash coverage of it. There we go. There we go. And the only way you're notified is if you're following.
I've got my poetry. See me through the lonely nights. Help me to be strong.
Help me to be strong.
I am like the dancing bear, trained to be the best. I am on a never-ending quest. I can smile a little now.
Leslie in the chat room raises a topic. Weekend watch list. What am I watching? Is there anything? You know what? Because I know that it's weekend with the kid. I'm not really. We're watching The Boys. We are. I tried to get him into The Boys. The Boys is an Amazon Prime series. I tried to get him into The Boys years ago, but he didn't get into it. Now he's all into it. He's 14 years old. He's like, dude, this is the best superhero stuff ever. I go, I know, right? Because they're assholes. The Boys is on Amazon Prime. It is so cool. It is such a cool series. It is so well done. So awesome. It's the story about the superheroes, but they're not good. They're bad. What if Superman wasn't a good dude? What if Superman was kind of an arrogant asshole? Anyway, The Boys. Very good show on Amazon Prime. We're watching that. I don't know if there's anything else. I don't know if there's anything else. What are you guys watching? You guys watching anybody? Anybody got anything good that they want to share? All right. You share some. We'll let the theme play. I'll look and see if Hunters, Leslie says Hunters on Amazon. I never got into Hunters. I watched the first 4 episodes and I never grabbed me, but some people like it.
Things are going good. I always had to be on guard. That is understood. It has been a journey, a multi-answer test.
Yeah, Adam brings up an interesting one, which is the new Justified spinoff series, City Primeval. I'm not watching that yet because I'm waiting for not necessarily the whole season, but at least 3 or 4 episodes. I just want to be able to get into the feel of the series. I don't like to watch episodically. I can't do that. Binging has ruined me. I used to, I spent the first 40 years of my life watching episodic, weekly scheduled programming. I just can't do it anymore. So I am going to check out City Primeval. That's the new Justified. I love Justified. So, but I'm just waiting to have a bunch of episodes so I can binge it.
I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day. The best is yet to come.
Frank Smith knows what's good. Baseball all weekend, boys. Time to fine tune. This is trades weekend. Time to look at your team, decide what you want. Are you buyers? Are you sellers? This weekend's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of fun. And we here in Texas happen to have one of the most interesting teams in baseball. So Frank's right. Frank says he's just going to be watching baseball. Yeah, there going to be some baseball news.
Different way, so baffling to some. I have got an old guitar, that is all I need. I don't need no 401, I don't have the greed. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day, the best is...
Hold on. Jeff Ballard, are you still there? Jeff Ballard asks the question, is the Righteous Gemstones worth it? Yes, it absolutely is. Baby Billy might be my favorite character in the history of television, and that's all I'll tell you. Yes, Righteous Gemstones is tremendous. I love that show. As a matter of fact, I am now finishing up this most current season of The Righteous Gemstones because I did what I'm doing with City Primeval. I had to wait for all of the episodes to build up. So I'm on episode 2 of this current season, and that's what I'm watching at night. So tonight when I go to bed, I'll be watching an episode or 2 of The Righteous Gemstones. I highly recommend it. I think it's hysterically funny. I think it's not only hysterically funny, but really well done. The performances are amazing. It's just really, it's absurd, funny. John Goodman, it's great. I love it.
Yet to come, I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now, things are going good. I always had to be on guard, that is understood. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. I am on a never-ending quest.